I'm a K-I-N-G, baby, I'm all you need. In the off-white Rari, baby, we run the streets. I'm a K-I-N-G, Westside royalty. I'm a K-I-N-G, baby, that's all you need. I'm a K-I-N-G, baby, I'm all you need.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Get It with your host, Stephen Basita, on my podcast here, and we are on the social NOSTRA network. So please make sure that if you're seeing this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. We're on Instagram. Make sure you follow us. We're on Roku. We're on Pandora. We're on Spotify. So please make sure that you subscribe and follow our channel, and you'll get updates for all of our new podcasts and everything we've got going on. But we are in the start of September. And so I've done a little series over the last few months, and it hasn't been very consistent because of my travel schedule lately, but I've had a lot of different pro athletes on, specifically former NBA players or current NBA players, and just wanted to do kind of a recap before we get into the fall season here, and as we start to get prepared for the holidays, and of course moving into another new year here. And of course we've been going through the COVID stuff still and the different variants that have been out, and life has been a little crazy these last couple of years. And so how can we as people get reset? How can we get back on track? There's so many people that I talk to or that message me or contact me saying, I had a little groove going, and then I got into COVID, and I'm having such a hard time getting back into my groove. And some people have lost businesses or lost their jobs and lost their passion for stuff, and really just a lot of people are feeling lost out there. And I just wanted to address some of that stuff today, and also, like I said, just kind of walking through which I think there's a correlation between the two, the people that have been pro athletes, because that's so hard to achieve, and hearing their different stories. And a lot of them had a lot of different adversities they had to overcome, and obstacles and hardships. Well, how did they do it? And of course, being able to make careers out of some of the toughest, if not the toughest industries to get into, being in pro sports. Also, for those who noticed, my hair is growing out a little bit for the first time in 12 years. My daughter, Scarlett, she is 5 years old, and she had asked me to grow my hair out. So I said yes, and we'll see how it goes. I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm figuring it out. I have to go buy a comb. I need to get some hair products, apparently. But let's dive in today. So how can I get my life jump started again? How can I renew my passion? How can I get going again? How do we create and form new habits or get back to previous habits? And of course, going back into just the wrap up of all these pro athletes, it all boils down to habits. For these guys that were pro athletes or are pro athletes, they made habits and they stuck with those habits. And regardless of the outcome of things for themselves, whether they were a starter, whether they were a bench player, changes in coaches, changes in situations, these guys, they were always ready for that opportunity when they would finally get a chance. And those opportunities, they're going to come. And in life, they're going to come. You're going to have opportunities. And what are you doing to seize the moment with those opportunities? Habits. Let's get into the habits first. What are your habits? And listen, I speak from experience here. I also lost 2 businesses during COVID, businesses I've worked very hard for. And my schedule was very much I got up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., Monday through Sunday, typically. It was rare that I got up much later on the weekends. And I would work, I had my whole day planned out from the moment I got up until the moment I got home, which was 10, 11, sometimes 12 at night. And I still had to do things when I got home. I still needed to eat dinner. And that's not always true, but a lot of times it was. I needed to eat dinner. I needed to take my dogs for a walk. Always needed to take my dogs for a walk. I needed to take a shower. I needed to quickly wrap up through my day, look through all my notes. I'm a really big believer in planners, so I have a planner here. It doesn't say much on it, but what's important is what's in the planner, which is lots of notes and schedules and things that I need to do for myself, personal and business. That's not as bad as it has been in the past, as far as like all the things I have, but I have different weeks where there's all kinds of stuff going on. And it's so critical. If you're trying to get your life back on track, you need a planner, you need a schedule. Look, I have that, followed by an enormous planner, which I don't think is in here right now. And I have my Google Calendar set up, so everything's synced. So I know every day what's going on in my life. And then, speaking of retracting, so I had this life created that I worked really hard for, and COVID happens, and I had to shut my gym business down permanently. I was helping at a private high school with stuff. Obviously, that got put on, pause for a very, very, very long time. And then me and my family relocated before it really picked back up. My basketball club did survive, but it was paused for months. And then my business consulting also had to dissolve that. And all those things happened because, everything was shut down. Didn't have any real way to transition business into something different. For my business, I really specialize for the consulting stuff in startups, scale ups, and businesses that were in the red, helping them move into the black. Well, those aren't the types of businesses that can afford services when everything's shut down, and they had to shut down. My gym business, can't make money if you can't train people. And so it's something, that each of those things had to be handled respectively to what our situation was and what was going on. So some of the businesses just weren't able to survive, that there's no way around it. So my habits did have to change. Instead of getting up at 4 a.m., which took me a while to break, I didn't have any reason to get up at 4 a.m. anymore. So I would set my alarm for 6 a.m. And it took a while before I started waking up at 6 a.m. because I was so used to waking up at 4 a.m. But then can't go to the gym and work out. So trying to do things out in the yard or in the house, I did have weights and stuff. And for a while I was doing online training, group online training. So I was working out 3 days a week, which was good. But eventually that kind of petered out. And so, my habits, again, going into monumental changes. I had scheduled meetings for teams and stuff for my different companies, but it was all on Zoom. And my day just radically changed. And so, months and months and months of that, I started to relinquish all these habits I spent years building. And it goes back to when things started to open up. How did my habits change? How did I shift things? Because again, a lot of my habits have changed now. I didn't need to do some of the things I was doing. And at this point in my life, I haven't reopened my gym business, which won't happen. I've focused most of my energy now on my basketball club. I have a couple side things, but those habits that change, now I have to do new habits. And so going into the questions that so many people have, well, how do you get into new habits, or how do you restructure your life? Well, you start with setting your alarm clock. Get up in the morning. So I don't have to be up at 6 a.m. Don't need to be. My daughter doesn't need to be at school and until 8:15. She doesn't have to get up until 7:15. Well, I get up at 6. I quickly do the chores around the house I need to get done, have my coffee, have my breakfast, go to the gym, work out for 45 minutes, come home. Then I get my daughters up, my wife up. I get my wife her breakfast, her vitamins, her coffee. I get my daughters their breakfast, their vitamins. I help get them all. My youngest daughter doesn't go to school. She's an infant still. I get Scarlett ready for school, take her to school. The school is really just a 5-minute walk for us. So we walk there, drop her off, get home, and then I have my schedule, what I'm doing throughout the day. And so all that stuff matters for us to be able, and really for me to be able to function so that I can positively progress my day every day. I have a ton of stuff I need to do. And so it's now refocusing and creating new habits. And that takes time. But if you have goals, and everybody should have goals. I think that's one of the biggest things that's important. With no goals, there's no drive. And I know I went through a year not being able to create goals. So I slowly lost my drive. and having to restart and refocus and make new goals and do all these things to get myself back on track into a boat that is now positively moving down the right way. And one of the things I really liked about all the different athletes I've had on, they're talking about how they had to constantly adapt and change to new situations in life. And that's what we have to do as people. And the correlation is really the same. You know, they're having to do this stuff to get where they want to go. And we have to do this stuff to get to where we want to go as people in our daily lives. And so how are we doing that? What are we doing? And then are we sticking to those things, or are we making excuses? And I really think that that's the most important thing here, is not making excuses. There are going to be days you don't feel good. There's going to be days you're tired. Listen, I have 2 kids. I have one that's 9 months old. I don't sleep a lot at night anymore. And I am tired. Guess what? I don't want to wake up all the time, but I do it because it's important to get my day started the right way. I get my day started. If I need to take a nap later in the day, I'll take a nap if I have time. And right now, with my schedule and really this whole life that we have post-COVID, sort of, because we're still kind of in it, but you know, a little 15-minute power nap, I can usually find a little bit of time to do that. And it's something that we should do. If we're tired, find time to take a 10, 15-minute power nap. Get up, continue the next part of your day. And then when you get into the evening time, everybody has a different amount of time that they need for sleep. My wife needs more sleep than I do. So it's different for us in our routines for night and stuff. I usually, at this point in my life, get to bed a little earlier than my wife, but I get up substantially earlier than her. And she gets to bed when she gets to bed, and she sleeps until, 7:30, 8, whatever time I wake her up, so that she can help me with whatever I need to wrap up with our daughters. But, everybody's got a different schedule, and you know what your needs are better than anybody else. So don't feel bad about it. Some people don't need 8 hours of sleep. I don't need 8, but I certainly at this point in my life need a lot more than 4, which is what I was getting prior to COVID. And I found that my healthy balance is right around 6. If I get 6 hours, typically I'm pretty good for the whole day. I don't get tired. I don't need anything. And so that's a huge benefit. But I've also gotten older. I had conditioned myself in my 20s to the schedule I had. So going into my 30s, it was something I was already doing and I was consistent in. Well, I'm almost at 40, which is when, COVID had hit, which was a little over a year and a half ago now. And it's definitely radically changed my life in a lot of ways. And so again, getting back to how do we create new habits? How do we do things? Well, a habit takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days. And that's important, usually on the 60 to 90 day scale. But it takes 30 days minimum to create a new habit. So are you doing with your goals, putting up your goals and stuff, are you actually focused on creating that new habit and doing it, even though it's uncomfortable, for 60, 90 days? I would say most people aren't going to be able to adjust in that 30 days because it's going to take longer to break those old habits. So what are you doing to create the new ones? Are you pushing yourself? Again, a lot of this stuff is a mental toughness thing. It's just mental discipline. It's just doing it here first. And there's a just phenomenal book I've talked about in previous podcasts. It's called Mindset by Dewick. You can get it on iTunes. You can buy it in bookstores. If you need a little bit of help in having just reshaping your mind, it's phenomenal. And there's 2 types of mindsets. There's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And she gets into this over the course of most aspects of life, which is why it's such a phenomenal book. A fixed mindset is really just you're unwilling to move. So whatever your mindset is in something, it's stuck there. A growth mindset is the mindset of looking at things and always trying to improve, or look at things in different ways, trying to figure out different solutions to a problem. But you're constantly trying to grow, trying to push, trying to excel, trying to improve in your life. It's a phenomenal book. I highly recommend it to anybody listening to this. I don't get any endorsement from her or her book. It truly is a phenomenal book. And I am a person that loves to read at least 6 to 8 books a year if I can, improvement books. And I don't always achieve that goal either, but I work on it. And right now I'm wrapping up 3 books. But that book is truly the best book I've ever read in my entire life. And then I also have a list of books because I'm constantly trying to prepare myself after I'm done. So there's 9 books on here. I don't know if anybody can actually see it on my camera. It looks like it's kind of hard to see. There you go. But Always Forward is 1, Hacking Growth is 2, Law of Success is 3, Blue Ocean Strategy is 4, Principles is 5, Extreme Ownership is 6, How to Win Friends and Influence People is 7, The Go Giver is 8, and Anti-Fatigue is 9. So that's for the next 9 books I have. And I also am constantly trying to grow. I don't know everything. And so I listen to other people's podcasts that are older, wiser, more successful. And that doesn't always define, there's people that are younger than me. I listen to people that are younger than me that are clearly more successful. I'm constantly looking and asking others, especially people that are smart and are always trying to grow too. What are they listening to? What are they reading? And I have a really strong group of just core friends that are all in the same boat as me. They'll have their own businesses, or they're high-level employees for other people's businesses, and they're always trying to grow, self-improve, develop all these things. And that's also important, having a circle of people that's your main circle of people that are all in the same boat. So we don't go out and drink and party, and we're not pulling all-nighters, and we're not being irresponsible like we did when we were younger. And that's actually how I met most of them, to be honest. But we all started doing the same things and making moves in the same direction. And it's been amazing to see how everybody's elevated over the time that we've all been friends. We've been friends for 15 years for most of us in this core group of guys. And so who's influencing you? Who's around you? You know, if you're trying to improve your life and you're trying to make great strides towards that, but your circle of friends are all people that have no ambitions and aren't going to do that. They don't care if you're trying to make a 5-year plan. They want nothing to do with it. They just want to worry about the weekend and getting wasted and hooking up with people, or, they're constantly trying to distract themselves and doing things that have nothing to do with being productive with their lives. Those are the people that are going to be most influential to you. And you're going to have a hard time breaking out of that and moving forward with your life. Cutting people out of your life is one of the hardest things you can possibly do. I know, because I've had to do it on several occasions. And my wife and I were just talking about this yesterday, where she made a comment about how she doesn't think, she thinks that I'm the only person in this marriage who's improved someone's life, that I've vastly improved her life, and she's offered nothing to me or done nothing to help improve my life. And I had to tell her, that simply is not true. And one of the things that she did for me, which was critical to my personal growth, which was helping me set boundaries, helping me learn that no, saying the word no is okay, because I'm a people pleaser. That's a hardship that I have. I have a hard time saying no. And cutting toxic people out of my life. See, I always thought that I would be able to be the person that helped all those toxic people change. And, that's just not the case most of the time. And it's unfortunate. Toxic people need to learn their own lessons a lot of times. And I have learned that lesson. And I also learned that lesson a little bit on the hard way scale, but my wife was instrumental in helping me filter out toxic people that are not contributing positively to my life. And that's important, because toxic people are going to suck up your time too. And just getting rid of them. Listen, it's not easy. And everybody's going to have a different way of doing it. For those that are people pleasers, I had to do it a little bit more of an aggressive way because of who the people were in the relationships that were there. But it's simply not responding to texts or messages from them or phone calls or however people communicate. Everybody communicates differently now, but just not responding much. Not being available when you do respond. You're getting hit up every weekend. Hey man, let's go out. Or, if you're a woman or whatever you identify as, hey, let's go out, let's do this, that, and the other thing. Like, no, I can't. I have stuff I got to do in the morning. To be honest, most of those people are going to filter themselves out anyways. You typically won't have to do a whole lot, because if you can't ride with them through the nonsense that they want to do and the waste of time, they're going to latch on to other people and be like, oh, this person's too good for us. They're too busy. They don't have time. They'll figure it out and they'll move on with their lives. Not 100% of the time, but I would say a majority of it they'll filter themselves out. But, going back into really wrapping up here, how do we make those changes? Again, getting to see the podcast I did with Jamal Sampson, Ryan Hollins, Mario West, Josh Love, like these different Kevin Boyle, all these different pro athletes. They all had to make sacrifices. They all had to do things a little different. They all had to go through different adversities. And it was really their mindset and how they were able to overcome these things and then progress. And the same for just anybody in life. It's a mindset thing. It's a habit thing. Create your goals and start to move forward on that stuff. And no, it's going to be painful at first. It's going to be hard. You can do it. The question is, are you going to be disciplined enough to do it? And that's a personal thing that you just have to take accountability on. And if it's really hard for you, find some people that can be your accountability partners that can help hold you to what you say and motivate and positively progress you. Find a mentor. I'm a mentor to a few different people, and I have 2 mentors myself. I've always had mentors since I got into business, and they're not always the same. Over the years, I've changed mentors because I think it's important that you have mentors for a certain amount of time because they are investing in you, and then you find new ones to continue on the next part of your journey. It frees them up to also help others, and different parts of the journey. Because I have had a mentor that I've had for a little bit longer than most, and that's individual, up to you as individuals. But find a mentor, be a mentor after you get yourself in the right place so that you can positively help others. And if you ever need anything, I get lots of messages on Instagram. You're more than welcome to do that. My Instagram's included. It's SSEESEDA. It's my first initial, middle initial, my last name. Please feel free to message me. I engage with people every day. I had 3 messages this morning I had to respond to, and I like to engage with everybody. So please feel free to message me. I love the conversations and how I can help, which is how this podcast came into being today, is because I have been getting messages with so many people having these related questions. So best of luck to you guys. Have an amazing week. And we are also on Roku now. So please make sure you check us out on Roku. And thanks for being with me. I'm your host, Stephen Basita. This is my podcast, Get It. And again, we are on the Social Nostra Network. So anywhere you can find the Social Nostra Network, which is on everything, you can definitely subscribe, follow, comment. We love the feedback. Hope everybody has a great week. I'll talk to you again.